Hi, my name is Paulina Bustos. I am an engineer with public interest. That's how I like to call myself. I co-founded a company called Civica Digital in Mexico, and we work doing technology for NGOs and governments. Well, we've worked with several organizations, mainly in the area of open data and transparency. For example, the Institute of Competitivity in Mexico have a project called 3x3 that advocates for politicians to publish their declarations of interest, their fiscal declaration, and their declaration of property. And we did that work with them, and it's one of the main applications that are being used in Mexico for transparency, and it's also very well used for elections. We also have a product called Urban that helps governments to improve their public services by using artificial intelligence and by digitizing public services that is being used for things like paying taxes, getting your birth certificate, and things like that. Yes, I think that in Mexico, the work that we've done in open data has been very productive in cultivating a culture inside the government on how to be more open and transparent, and also to use more technology. Like, even though open data is not completely related to doing more applications, that kind of brings some innovation to the offices and municipalities, and they are kind of like thinking on how to do more. And I think that culture has been cultivated in the last 6 years. That are the past president's time. I think that the impact has been very little because even though we've been talking about doing more open data, and if you ask a public servant in Mexico what open data is, they will tell you what it is. The data that has been published is not good enough. It doesn't have the quality, enough quality to do good open data products, and so the impact is still very little. But I think the culture is there, so that's good, but not that much impact on real problems. Well, mainly two things. The number one is to really open data to be used. So right now, if the majority of open data that is being published in CSVs or even Excel, that are very hard to use in an application. Like that you have to convert that to an API and then put it in an application. And so I think that if the government should be focused on have open data as infrastructure, so it's always like an API that other third parties can use directly in their application and other technologies. And the second one is choose topics that really matter. For example, the justice system is the one that is closer to the citizen, and it's also the one that hurts the most, but it's the one that has zero data, right? So I think that we should focus, instead of focusing on things that are easy, like the number of stores that are in a city, we should be focusing on things that are really impacting the quality of life in citizens. Mostly, I want to stop talking about the impact of open data, like in general. I think that one of the ways that we have matured as communities that we know that impact is very hard to measure. So I think the conversation is not about impact, it's about how we measure it and then how we iterate from there. So I think that we need to understand what open data has been doing. I think that sometimes one of the things that frustrates me about this kind of the talks that we have in open data conferences, that we're still wondering if it's even useful. But I think that the answer is already yes, it's useful, but we need to figure out like what ways it's useful and improve those ones and like go deep on those ones. So I also want to see more talk about the uses of open data in things like artificial intelligence or machine learning, which are like two technologies that are going to be huge impacted by the use of more open data.